All right, let's talk packaging, specifically sustainable packaging. Today, we're going to tear the lid right off this whole topic and really unpack what we think is the green choice versus what the data actually says is making a difference.
Okay, so picture this, right? You're in the grocery aisle, you're trying to do the right thing. You want to make that eco-friendly choice, but you're just staring at this wall of products, all these different symbols, colors, claims. It's overwhelming. It's a decision we all face, and let's be honest, it's way harder than it should be to get it right.
So let's break it down to its simplest form. You've got two choices. On one hand, you've got the package that just screams, I'm eco-friendly. It's got the green leaves, the earthy colors, all the nature imagery. And on the other hand, you've got something simple, clean, minimalist. Now, here's the kicker. The research shows our brains are super influenced by all those fancy graphics, even though they often have zero to do with how sustainable the package actually is. And that's the core conflict we're digging into today. What feels right versus what is right.
In this whole thing, this leads us to what you could call the green choice illusion. It's this massive gap between our good intentions and the actual reality of the product. And honestly, that gap is often created by some really clever marketing that knows we want to do good but doesn't always deliver on the promise.
You know, for decades, we've basically been trained to look for one thing and one thing only. That little recycling symbol. It feels so simple, so satisfying. We toss it in the blue bin and poof, it gets a new life. But is that really the whole story? What really happens to that package after it leaves our hands? Let's find out. So let's get into it. The truth about recycling. And I gotta warn you, we're about to hit you with some numbers that might just make you look at your recycling bin completely differently from now on.
Okay, here's the first big number. Get ready for it. Worldwide, only 14% of all plastic packaging even gets collected for recycling. Just let that sink in. 14%. That means the other 86%, the huge majority, doesn't even get a shot at a second life. It's heading straight to landfills, incinerators, or worse, into our environment.
But wait, it gets crazier. Let's zoom in on just that tiny 14% that does get collected. Of that slice, a measly 2% gets truly recycled into something of equal value. You know, a bottle becomes a bottle again. That's called closed-loop recycling. 8% gets downcycled, meaning it's turned into something of lower quality, like park benches or something, that usually can't be recycled again. And the last 4%, it just gets lost during the process. Gone.
And this quote here, it really hits the nail on the head. It says that recycling doesn't actually change the system of production and consumption. Think about what that means. Our whole focus on what goes in the bin is kind of a distraction from the much bigger problem. We're just making and using way too much single-use stuff to begin with. Recycling is a band-aid for the waste, not a cure for our wastefulness.
So, that leaves us with a pretty massive question, right? If recycling isn't the silver bullet we all thought it was, then what are we supposed to do? Where do we go from here? Is there a better way? Oh, you bet there is. The alternative is a complete mind shift. We need to stop thinking about how to manage waste and start thinking about how to get rid of it from the get-go. And that is what we're calling the reuse revolution. And the engine driving this whole revolution is something called the circular economy. Right now, we're in a linear economy. It's simple. We take resources, we make stuff, and then we throw it away. Take, make, waste. A straight line. The circular economy flips that on its head. It's a loop. It's designed so that nothing is ever really waste. The goal is to keep materials and products in use for as long as humanly possible, through reusing, repairing, remanufacturing. You get the idea. So, how does this reuse thing actually work? Well, there are basically two main paths. First, there's exclusive reuse. That's pretty simple. It's when you own the container. Think about your personal coffee cup or a SodaStream bottle. You use it, you refill it, it's yours. Then there's sequential reuse. This is where the company owns the packaging. You use what's inside, and then you return the container to them. It's kind of like the old-school milkman model, but for everything. They take it back, clean it, refill it, and send it out again.
But for any of this to work, for reuse to really take off, companies have to earn our trust. So let's zoom out from the big picture economic system for a second and zoom right back into the most complex system of all, the one inside our own heads. Let's talk about your brain on green packaging.
Check out this quote because it really gets to the core of it. Simplicity. It just cuts through all the noise. Basically, when we see a clean, simple design, our brain's baloney detector is less likely to go off. We don't immediately suspect that a company is trying to pull a fast one on us.
So here's the psychology behind it. It's pretty fascinating. First, those super complex, busy, leafy designs, yeah, they grab our attention. Our eyes are drawn to them. But then, almost immediately, a little red flag goes up in our brain. We start to wonder, wait a minute, are they trying to manipulate me? Is all this nature art just a cover-up? And that suspicion, that feeling of being marketed to, it actually erodes our trust in what the product is claiming.
And it all boils down to this, really. Simple packaging just feels more authentic. We trust it more. When it comes to sustainable design, less really is more, because simplicity signals honesty. It lets us feel like we're making a confident choice based on facts, not just falling for a clever marketing trick.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. We know reuse is a much more powerful alternative to recycling, and we know that simple, honest design is the key to building trust. So what's the last piece of the puzzle? Well, it's putting it all together. It's time to talk about building a better system for everyone. Because here's the real, honest-to-goodness truth of it. Your individual choices, they absolutely matter. But we can't be expected to individually shop our way out of a global crisis. The burden can't just fall on you, the consumer, standing in that grocery aisle. The real solution is to build better systems that make reuse the easy choice. Not just possible, but the most convenient, the most affordable, the most obvious choice there is.
So what does a system like that actually look like? Well, it would mean corporations seriously investing in durable, returnable packaging. It would mean government policies that actually incentivize and reward reuse. It would mean building a collection infrastructure that's just as widespread and convenient as our trash and recycling bins are today. And it all has to be tied together with clear, standardized labeling that tells you exactly what to do so everyone can easily participate.
So let's end with this thought. Our recycling bins are full, but are our imaginations empty? Think about it. We have proven that we can build a massive, complex, global system just for collecting stuff we're going to throw away. The question now is, can we use that same ingenuity to imagine and then build something better? A system that doesn't just manage waste, but designs it out of the picture, right from the very start.